Sujata, good afternoon. Okay, leave it. I will ask the question from the chapter that I was teaching you, that chromosomal principles of inheritance and variation. Before that, today I will discuss about something, that is sex determination in humans. Sex determination in human. You have read that part in junior classes, that in human how sex can be determined. So let me repeat that part. So as you know that in human we are showing that heterogamy. That means male and female reproductive organs are present into two different bodies. Like as such, we are dividing them into male body into female body. Okay, male and female. That means in that human chromosomes are present. What is the number of chromosomes in case of human? Tell me. What is the number of chromosomes in case of human? Very good. So number of chromosome is, in case of human, that is 46, or we can call it 23 pairs. Okay, so in that 23 pairs, mainly two types of chromosomes are present. Yes, Payal, right. Two types of chromosomes are present. What are they? These are autosome and sex chromosome, right? Or we can call it that autosome, that body chromosome or autosomes and sex chromosome. So with that their name suggests that that autosomes, that means that 22 pairs which are present in the body, it is called as autosome, and one pair of sex chromosome is present. And as we are showing male and female, so in case of male, sex chromosome will be X and Y, and in case of female, sex chromosome in XX. Okay, so sex chromosomes are XX or XY. So out of 23 pairs of chromosome, which are that same in both males and females, but a pair of X chromosome is present in case of female, and one X chromosome and Y chromosome is present in case of male. Okay, that means during spermatogenesis among males, you know the process of spermatogenesis, that means the process by which sperms can be produced. Two types of gametes are produced during the time, and 50% of the total sperm carrying X chromosome and 50% other 50% of the total sperm carrying Y chromosome. Okay, now when a girl will be born and when the baby will be boy, how will we decide? We can decide with the help of the chromosome. As if father is having, or we can write it male is having X and Y chromosome, and mother, father or male, mother or female. Okay, so mother or female is having XX chromosome, right? Now if ovum fertilizes with the sperm, So at the time of fertilization, as you know, ovum will fertilize, sperm will fertilize the ovum. So at the time of fertilization, if ovum, as ovum is having only XX chromosome, no variation is there. So if ovum fertilizes with the sperm having X chromosome, ovum fertilizes with the sperm having X chromosome, then what will happen? That the child will be having XX chromosome, and XX means, that means the zygote will develop into a female. So after fertilization, all we know that zygote will be formed. After fertilization, what will happen? Zygote will form. So if ovum with X chromosome fuses with the sperm with X chromosome, and zygote develops, and they will form a female child. As you can see that they will form a female child. But in another case, that ovum, if fuses with the sperm which is having Y chromosome, that then the offspring will be male. So if fusion may be like that, then it will form a male child, right? So there are 4 possible combination. Like if we make a Punnett square like Mendel has done, then what we will get? That here we can write male, female. So here we can write XY and XX. So in that box what we will write? XX, in that box XY, in this box XX, and this box XY. Now if we want to find out the ratio, so XX is to XY, 2XX, 1 plus 1 2, XY XY, 1 plus 1 2. So the ratio will be 1:1. So the ratio will be 1:1. So we can say that the chances are 50%, right? So it is always 50% probability of either male or a female child. So with that we can conclude that it is also evident that in each pregnancy there is always 50% probability of either a male or a female child. Okay, but unfortunately in our society women are blamed for giving birth to a female children and have been ostracized and ill-treated because of the false notion. Okay, so in the always females are blamed for the having female child, but you can see from that part that female is not having any role in determination of the sex of the child, because in case of female we can see XX, same type of chromosomes are present, but in case of male it is having XY. So the determination of the sex of the child is totally dependent on the male. Females are not having any role in case of determination of the sex in case of human. Okay, so by that we can say that 50-50 chances are there of a couple having a male child or female child, and female is not having any role in determination of sex. Okay, so with that, next we will know another important term, that is mutation. So what is mutation? Mutation, if any alteration or changes is there in the DNA sequence, then this is called as mutation, or you can call it sudden change in the DNA. Sudden change in the DNA, and the cause may be various types of. But the result is that the sudden change in the DNA. If any sudden changes can be seen in the DNA, then alteration of the protein level will be there, and this property is called as, that means the alteration in the genotype and phenotype, alteration in the both genotype and phenotype will be shown, and this sudden change is called as mutation. Okay, so you know that in the class 11 you have read about the meiosis. Their recombination has been taken place, and mutation is also another phenomenon that lead to variation. Okay, so as you know that for us variation is very, very important. So mutation can help for bringing the variation. With the help of the variation, we can survive in the with the environmental changes. Okay, if any environmental changes comes, then we will be able to survive with the help of that variations, and this variation can lead to evolution. Okay, now in the chapter 6 you will read about the DNA helix structure. So how that, just imagine that is a DNA part. So I am drawing A, T, G, C. Okay, so the bonding will be like that. A pairs with T with double bond, T pairs with A with double bond, G pairs with C with triple bond, and C pairs with G with triple bond. It will be like that. So now due to any cause, that G moves and in place of G, A comes. So the protein which will be formed in the previous one, now it will express something else, right? That means that mutation may be of different type. It may be deleted of some base pair, or here there are new base pair may add. Okay, so if deleted we can call it deletions, or if inserted something new, then we can call it insertion, or duplication may be there, one base may be duplicated many times, and this can be called as duplication. Okay, and these are the some ways by which the alterations in case of DNA can be seen. Okay, in that chapter you will read that part in detail, that different types of mutation, right? Here I am showing one example. Now here you can see that mutation can occur in a single base pair. So these are the base pair. If mutation can occur in a particular single base pair, that type of mutation is called as point mutation. Okay, so and due to these type of mutation, several type of abnormalities or disabilities can be found. So one example of point cell mutation is sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia. Okay, so in that case the shape of the RBC will be sickle shape, so that one will not be able, if like just imagine that one, that if any changes has been occurred in a particular point or at a particular base point. Okay, so if it is occurring at a particular point, that's why it can be called as point mutation. Okay, that means mutation also rise due to change in a single base pair of DNA. If any changes can be there, like if any mutation can occur in a single base pair, okay, not more than one. If any changes occur in a single base pair, then this type of mutation is called as point mutation. And the example is that is sickle cell anemia. I will show you that what changes will take place in case of point mutation. That means changes in the protein level. You can see that one protein has been produced in that if it was in correct manner, but it will produce something else, so that for that what will happen, that the shape of the RBC will be changed. It will be sickle shaped. It will be sickle shaped like that. So if the shape of the RBC changes, then what will happen? It will not be able to carry the proper amount of oxygen. So the person may come under the deficiency of the oxygen and the hemoglobin, and the anemia will be formed, and this condition is called as sickle cell anemia. I will discuss the disease later. Just now you have to remember one example of point mutation. Okay. Now as I have mentioned that if like something A, T, G, C was there. Now another T has been inserted here. So the frame will be totally shifted, because here A pairs with T, T pairs with A, G pairs with C, again C pairs with G. Now as we know that with the 3 we can make a codon, and each codon will form a protein. So if a T insert here, then T will pair with A, so the frame will be totally shifted. The frame will be totally shifted, and this type of mutation will be considered as frame shift mutation, and these all will be I will discuss in the chapter number 6. I hope your chapter number 6 is going on, so you will get to know the different type of mutation in detail there. Okay, just here I am just giving you the brief idea. So with this type of mutation we have to know that different type of disorders. Now before that we have to know another important part, that is different type of genetic disorders. There are different type of genetic disorders, and under the genetic disorders we have to know pedigree analysis. So we know the meaning of genetics, right? So after the discovery of the Mendel work, that different analysis of an inheritance pattern of traits in human beings began. Okay, different type of analysis has begun. Now from that we came to know that study of the family history. It is very important to identify any type of disorder. We have to know the family history, and with the help of that we can find any disorder that can be inherited from their parents or their grandparents or more than that. Okay, so inherited disease or genetic disorder means that the disorders which can be passed through the parents to offspring, or it can be inherited from the parents to offspring or the grandparents or more than that. Okay, so these that means which are present particularly in the genetical part, not up. The disease may be of sometimes, that some disease a person may acquire in their lifetime. Okay, there are some different type of infectious diseases. Okay, and some non-infectious diseases also. But beside that, there are some diseases which can be transmitted genetically. Okay, so for it is evident that control crosses that can be performed in the, we have seen that the study of the pre-plant, and from the study of the family we came to know the different evidences. So such type of analysis of traits in several of the generation of the family. such type of analysis of the traits with the several generation of the family, this is called as pedigree analysis. Okay, that means in that pedigree analysis, the inheritance of a particular trait, we will come to know that the inheritance of a particular trait is represented in the family tree over generations. Okay, so we come to know that part from the pedigree generation. So before that, and in the human genetics, that's why pedigree provides a study tool which is utilized to trace the inheritance of specific trait, abnormality or any kind of disease. Okay, and for this pedigree analysis, some of the important symbols used. First, you have to know the different symbols used in that pedigree analysis, because whenever we will perform that one, because this pedigree analysis is present in your practical syllabus also. So you have to know how pedigree analysis can be done, and for knowing that part you have to know the different symbols of pedigree analysis. So first, today I will show you the different symbols, and you have to remember that different symbols used in the pedigree analysis. So first one is this box. This can be considered as male. Now a small circle. This can be considered as female. Okay, now if I draw like that or like that, that will express that affected, or we can write here that normal. This is the sign for normal male and this is the sign for normal female. Okay, and if we write like that, then it will be considered as affected male and this one is affected female. These two are considered as affected male and female. Now if I draw like that, this indicates sex unspecified. This indicates that the sex of the child is not specified. Okay, now so in that case we can write down that one also, that means affected sex unspecified child. Okay, now if I draw like that, that means carrier female. Females may be carrier, because as you can see that in case of female both are having XX and in case of male it is having XY. Now if any X-linked diseases can be found, then what may happen if it is in recessive condition? So if that condition is present in the female, then one X is normal and another one is affected or abnormal. Okay, so what will happen? The child or the girl may show the normal characteristics because the child may be of carrier, because that it is having the double X chromosome. That's why if one dominant X is present there and the X-linked disorder is recessive, in that case the child will show the normal characteristic, but she may be affair. But in case of male, you can see as it is only one X chromosome it is having, that's why a male will not be able to a carrier, because if it is affected X, then the male will show the affected nature. So we can use this a dot inside the small circle to define the carrier female. But most of the cases you will find that this sign will not be there. Whenever you will perform the pedigree, you can find that they will not tell you that the female is carrier or not. They will not show the sign. Okay, they will show you normal, that one. But you have to find out that the female is carrier or the normal. Okay, now next one is that indicates mating or marriage. Okay, a line between the male and female sign is indicating the mating or marriage. Okay, now if double line is there like that, if double line is there, it is called as consanguineous marriage. Consanguineous marriage, that means marriage between the close relatives. Consanguineous marriage means marriage or mating between the close relatives. Clear? Now that how we will show the offsprings. Now for the offsprings we will, let me rub that part. For the offspring we will show like that. Clear? So if we want to show the offspring of the next generation, we will draw like that. So that means mating, and this means that the parents, they are the parents and they are the offspring or the child. So we can say that this couple, if we consider the A and B, couple AB is having 3 child, 1, 2, 3 child. Among them 2 are female and 1 is male, right? So here we can draw this kind of sign because they are brothers and sisters. So we can draw it like that, that if we want to show the marriage of them, then we have to draw another couple. Now we can draw it, right? So it indicates that couple AB is having 3 child. Okay, we will show the child like that. Among them 2 are girl and 1 is boy, and the couple CD is having 2 boy child, and 1 boy marries with the girl of the couple AB, and they are having 3 girl child. Clear? So like that we can identify that if any disease is present in that particular B, then it may, and this disease can be present here also. How? This you have to explain, and I will discuss all this in my next class. That is, from this we have to understand that what type of inheritance it is showing. So these are the, or if I draw like that, then it will mean that this couple AB is having 2 girl child which are normal and 1 affected male child. Okay, 1 affected male child. Another one is, if I write like that, inside that if I write 5, it will mean that 5 unaffected offspring. 5 unaffected offspring. Clear? From that we have to identify mainly 5 types of analysis. That means X-linked dominant, X-linked recessive, autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, and Y-linked. Okay? So in my next class I will discuss about these 5, and after that you will be able to do it by your own. You have to find it out. That means they in your exam they will provide you this type of pedigree analysis, and you have to find it out that which type of pedigree it is, like autosomal dominant or autosomal recessive or X-linked. So I will tell you how to do that one. So for today that's it. Have you understood up to this portion? Okay, so thank you, Payal and Srijata, and bye bye for today.